Hello, friends. It's your girl, Venice Antoinette.
And Amo Chanel.
Here with another episode of Sip and Spill. And today we're talking about...
We are talking about in the instance that your significant other, partner, whatever you would like to call it, has a tattoo of an ex-lover on them. What would you do?
What would you do?
How would you handle it? Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
So, would you accept somebody that had a tattoo of an ex on them?
Absolutely not. So, I can go straight to it with this. So, I've actually been in this scenario, and once he got the tattoo, it was dead for me. So I had gone off to college, came back home. The guy who I was dating at the time, when I came back home, had gotten, I guess at that time, his ex tatted on him.
Yeah.
When I came home, he kind of wanted to make it work. I saw the tat. I was like, you've lost your mind. Like, I can't kiss you, hug you, touch you. Like, I'm not interested. And, like, every time I see you now, especially in that specific spot, I'm going to see her name. Like, I'm never going to get past that.
If somebody got a tattoo, like, after I knew them, I could definitely see how that's never going to work.
Yeah, but I guess I've never been in this scenario where they had it before.
Right. If
so that's different.
The way I had somebody put it, well, I heard Adrienne Bailon, she was dating Lenny Santiago from Rock Nation or whatever. And she had, Rob Kardashian tattooed on her. She was like, he has kids. I have a tattoo. It's an even trade-off.
An even trade-off.
She thought it was an even trade-off. So, I thought of it as, like, maybe you should just think of it as people lived. I've never been in that scenario, so I don't know if I could literally look at, like, another woman's name every time I see your body. But if it's a good man, I don't know.
Like, you can't get that covered up. Like,
I don't know. But that leads to another question. Would you ever get, like, someone you're with's name?
Absolutely not.
Only way I would do it is if it was my husband, and I think it would just be like the tat,
Yeah, I think the most I would consider is actually getting a wedding band,
right?
Like tatted on me. But outside of that, because even if I got the wedding band, I don't think I would get their name with it.
I think I would get initials on my finger.
Initials, maybe.
If I was actually
married.
I think I would. That's the only tattoo I probably would get.
We gotta be 15 years in.
15 years in.
15 years in, then we can talk about it.
Other than that, but then I think, if I did that and God forbid it didn't work out, would I want somebody else to accept me?
Right. And you would.
You would. But then I think you should be in the state.
But I don't know, because when I think about it myself, if I did that and then we broke up, I feel like I would definitely get that covered up once I knew that it wasn't over, because the way I would take it if I'm dating somebody and they didn't cover that up, I would personally take that as they still had hope in that other person. Because when people make the excuse about money, I don't see that as an excuse, because you found the money to get the tattoo, so you can find the money to get it covered. That's the way I personally would view it.
That's a good point, because I'm thinking, when you break up with somebody, you don't want to feel like, when you know it's over and done, you don't want any claims of them on you. I'm thinking, if I had a man's name tatted on me and I knew, like, I wasn't going to be with him anymore, I don't want to see his name on my body.
Every day, right.
Like, even me, personally. So I could understand, like, why is this not covered up yet? And, you're with me now. Why am I having to even ask you about getting this covered up? So if you were in a situation, would you initiate the conversation? Or?
Honestly, I don't think I would take someone seriously who had their ex's name still tatted on them, because, like I said, one, I know myself well enough to know that if I saw that, I would immediately take it as they still have hope in that person.
Right.
I might give them a certain amount of time, and it's going to be a short amount of time. You have a month max. Because the way I'm going to take it is, you were already single or dating someone else prior to me. Right. So it's like, you had plenty of time to get this covered up. And if you try to, introduce the excuse of money for me, that's not a good enough excuse for me because people find money for what they want to buy.
And we've been out plenty of times.
Exactly. We've been out plenty of times. You took me out on plenty of dates.
Right.
Or even if we didn't like necessarily go on expensive dates, it's just you find money, period, for what you want to find money for. So
what if it's somebody, you know, like you really feel like you know, could be the one and maybe you just don't know. He hasn't brought it up. You don't know where he's at with it. But everything else is perfect about him. Would you ever bring it up, or would you just like fall back all the time?
I don't know if I would even get to the point where I would feel like he was perfect because, like I said, I'm always going to view that tattoo as hope for you getting back with that person. That's just me. Like, and I know how I am. I'm dramatic, so I stand on what I say. Like, I really would believe that in my heart of hearts.
I'm trying to put myself in worst case scenario. Like, let's say if somebody...
Like, if it was like you were wearing, you know, something... Like, let's say it was on your back, and I didn't see your back for months because we were just dating.
Right.
We never got to that point.
Yeah.
So then maybe it might be a little more difficult for me not to, like, say something about it.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's like, okay, I know you. I've gotten to know you, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But if we had been dating that long and I still saw it, I still think I would view it as you have hope in that relationship because if you and I have been building something for this amount of time, I never saw it, now I see it, and it's months later, it's like, how did you expect me to take that?
Yeah. No, I think in that case scenario, I'm going to bring it up in a way that's not like pressuring you to do something about it, but just kind of like asking about like, you know, how did it happen or how do you feel about it now? And I'm thinking, what if they say like, you know, that's part of my past that I don't want to get rid of?
That's interesting. But I was going to say, in reference to you saying you'd bring it up, something that we posted that was like from the Braxton family, where Tony Braxton's mother kind of had told them, don't bring something up unless you plan on
doing something
about it. I really stand on that. So I don't think I would necessarily bring up the tattoo unless I was willing to do something about it if you didn't change it.
I think.
Because I couldn't see myself staying with somebody who was going to keep that tattoo of somebody else's name on it.
If I'm in the scenario that you brought up, like I'm with you for, you know, a couple months and I don't see the tattoo for a while and you don't say anything about it because why would you? It's kind of awkward. I'm going to ask you, like, where do you stand with this? And I think I'm going to be willing to do something about it based on your answer. Like I said, if he says, that's a part of my past I don't want to get rid of.
Why?
Bye.
Like, goodbye.
Congrats to you and your past.
Right.
But I can't really move forward with you on that type of...
No, I was saying, though, like, I feel like you have to be prepared.
Right. I agree with that.
Because for me, I have to mentally prepare myself to be ready to walk away immediately based off of what the answer might be.
Right. I agree with that. If a man tells you that's just a part of his past and he's not going to get rid of it...
But what if he brings up, like, the money type of scenario? What would you say? Because for me, I wouldn't take that as a valid excuse. Because at this point, if we've been dating for months, that's really not a valid excuse.
That's a total excuse. Because I'm sure you could come up with 15 things that he spent money on that could have gone towards removing somebody's name from his body, which is pretty serious. Like, he's probably spent money on blunts, alcohol, food. Blunts? I'm just saying, like, money that he could have put towards... I'm serious.
We do not condone illegal activity on sipandspills.
I don't. I'm just talking. I'm just saying. I don't condone that at all. But I'm just saying, you could probably add up the amount of things he spent money on that he could have used to get rid of the tattoo.
No, I agree. Yeah, so for me, the money excuse, because the only excuses I could think of are that a man might give, and correct me, men, if I'm wrong, but I would say the money excuse, the past excuse that you brought up, and the, oh, I forgot about it. Because it's like, if it's on their back, they might not see it.
Right.
But all three of those, to me, are excuses that I personally would not take very lightly.
Forgot about it?
So it's like, because I mean, I've heard somebody somebody say that before they had a tattoo on like their like back shoulder, and someone asked them about it, and they're like, oh, I forgot about it. But they had like a bunch of tattoos. But
Maybe.
Regardless, someone's name though, like
if I have a man's name,
I'm never going to forget that. I don't care if my whole body is tatted. I'm never going to forget that.
The next man, I'm gonna think about how the man I'm dealing with is going to think about that. Like, I don't know, but I don't have tattoos.
And that's also another thing. If this guy has multiple tattoos and you use the excuse of like money or tattoo pain or something like that, oh, that's dead. Like, that is so dead.
So you got another tattoo.
You had 15 tattoos, but you can't get this one covered up?
Exactly.
Dead.
Exactly. But at the same time, I'm not going to pressure somebody to get something covered for me. It's just, if you don't feel the need to do it, I feel like we shouldn't really be together.
So for me, something I'm trying to, I guess, get myself out of that habit of is, and honestly, I don't think I'm out of that habit yet. For me, I don't see myself bringing it up because I'm going to take it as if you as a man didn't make that decision on your own, then I'm not about to try to sway you by bringing it up. That just means it's time for me to go. So if I see the tattoo and the name on it, I could see myself just falling back with no explanation. If you ask me, I'll tell you, but I'm not just going to offer it because for me, like how you said you would just ask him, I think that's honorable of a woman to just, you know, be straight up with it. But for me, I'm not like that. I'm the complete opposite. For me, if I see it, I'm going to take it as if I say something to you, that means that I'm trying to change you and I'm not. If you yourself don't see an issue with that, that just means we shouldn't be together.
I get the pride factor in it. That's definitely something I would struggle with. But I'm talking like if it's a good man, if you feel like I
don't know. I think I would still take it that way, to be honest.
I mean, I haven't been in the situation, so it's easy to say I'd ask you. Right. But I could see how your pride would get in the way. Like,
yeah, because it's like if you didn't make that decision on yourself, and you already know you and I have been, you know, whatever we've been doing for whatever amount of time.
I've seen your back.
And you didn't think I was important enough to do this.
Right.
Then I'm not going to ask you to go out your way to do it. I'm just going to fall back or leave. That's just me.
But I could see how, you know, maybe that could be detrimental. Because maybe he doesn't really think about it like that. Maybe, you know, he doesn't really think you care about it or him like that.
If you think that you want to have another woman's name tatted on you and date another woman, and that's not going to cause issues,
it's going to cause
you're emotionally unavailable, as Jay-Z said, and you do not need to be with anybody because no woman, I don't care who she is, unless maybe a girl who has another man tatted on her might see eye to eye with you. But if you're dealing with a girl who's not into the whole getting names tatted on her, etc., or doesn't have tattoos at all, and you think that it's okay for you to have an ex's name tatted on you, and that's just okay, nobody's going to see an issue about that, you should either find somebody who thinks like you, like-minded, or remain single.
I agree. But here's the question. What if you got engaged, and you did get, you know, whatever wedding band or initial tatted on you? Would you get it removed if you got divorced?
Immediately, yes. Immediately. Absolutely, yes. Because at that point, something really bad happened to the point where we're never going to get back together. So I probably would get that off before the divorce was even finalized.
I'm thinking
for me, because it's like, it's not even has anything to do with me dating someone else. It has to do with me personally. I don't want to see that every day.
Exactly.
If I want to get a divorce from you, that means I don't want to deal with you beyond whatever kids we may have or whatever, you know, you have to deal with due to a divorce. But past that, I don't want to deal with any of that. So I might get a flower on my finger or something like.
That makes me think of Sierra and Future. And she had they had each other's initials, C and N.
Did she get it cover up?
She got it removed, like she was going.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, she was going surgeries to get it totally like gone. And I think I would do the same thing. But I think that's also part of the reason I would get it. Period, is because it's so permanent, and I do value marriage as so like serious that I really don't think you should do that unless it's like, you know, like wife, husband status. I don't see why you should get a boyfriend, girlfriend name tag on it.
Absolutely. I agree. I would. So let us know your opinions down below.